Alright, today is the second day of using this new forge burner, Devil Forge, and a lot like its name, it gets hot as hell. Da-da-da-da-da. Alright. But what we're gonna do is a classic exercise of making a leaf. I found these rods of what are mild steel. They have little hooks and they have threads on the other end, and they were cheap as balls, so I bought them specifically for the purpose of practicing metalworking of any kind. They definitely feel a lot like the mild steel that I'm used to working with for, like, just the funsies. Making a point and isolating a small piece of material that'll become the leaf, that's the first step. That's the first step according to all the other yahoos that do it well and have done it multiple times. This is my third leaf, and it's the second one that was successful. And success being, it has a tail that could be turned into a keyring, stabby thing, normal stuff that people make. Also, the forge isn't getting quite as hot as it did on day one, and that is because I believe the propane froze pretty quickly. There's ice that develops on the outside of the container, and by the time that I noticed it, it was already pretty late in the day, and I don't think this would have been quite as laborious if it was getting hot as day one. But after you isolate your little feather area, leaf area, I know what leaves are, you isolate a stem area. And I isolated way too much material to be drawn out, but that's okay. This is leaf 3, hopefully on leaf 13. It'll be a little bit nicer to, it'll be a little bit more instinctive. And from everything other people have told me, and as well as just using this hammer that I got for Christmas, the round side of the hammer is much more aggressive for drawing, and I really, really like using it. Even if I should probably cool it with the rounding side every now and again, I'm still going to keep using it for quite a while. In general, I switched to the flat side there, of course. And while this most certainly isn't a how-to, there are so many good ones. There's so many people that already do it. This is somebody following a tutorial, not making a tutorial. And by following, I mean remembering in the back of my head and then building up horrible habits that I will continue to build until my leaves look like leaves. The wrong way eventually. Now, this is me thinking that I could simply open up the choke and put more air into the burner and have it do what I wanted it to do, which was get hotter. And it only kind of worked. Because the tank is still freezing. The only reason I can get away with hitting it while it's this cold is because it is mild steel, and even then it's a really bad habit to try to keep forming it. Oh, it's leaf time. So, after looking back at other people's instructions and just going through the steps in my head, one thing that I definitely should have is a slightly smaller hammer for some of this. At least for a leaf this size. I could probably have put more, I probably could have put more effort in the right places to get it more symmetrical. But this is a live and learn. It's not a tutorial, it's a live and learn. I do like it when it gets smaller because it heats faster, it hammers easier, and now I'm just making a little round section there. And that is basically the end of the stem of the leaf. Stem! That's the word. Sorry. I got excited. I've moved on to a cross-peen hammer to try and both get a little bit more width and add a little more texture. I would say with fair to moderate success. Not great success or even severe success. Also, if I was better at using the corner of the hammer, I could probably use one hammer for the whole operation. Just this one. But I really like my Christmas hammer. And looking back at it, I'm not always sure what I was thinking at the time. Like, this, yes it works, but why would you do that? You could get it hot and use a real thing to cut it. But instead you're going to snap off a cold piece of metal like a dillweed. There you go. Cold is also relative. That thing will give you like 3rd-degree burns. Speaking from the 3rd-degree burn on the back of my hand from a different piece of metal. I'm just guessing it's 3rd. I have no idea. I'm not a blacksmith and I'm barely a doctor. Legally nowhere near a doctor. We're getting off subject. You can see the propane tank in the background hiding behind a tree, and you can see it's a little foggy on the bottom. That's because it's covered in frost. and that is affecting the pressure that's coming out of the tank big time. If the pressure's high enough and everything's sitting pretty, that thing gets crazy hot, crazy fast. And I'm pretty sure much more efficiently than the previous burner, but that's kind of just hearsay. This is a case of me mimicking something I saw somebody else do with different levels of success. I now understand a little more why, when they did it, it worked right off the bat. Remember to hammer toward yourself in a sharp jerking motion. Forge is off. The steel is mild. My temper is as well mild. I've already noticed that the tank is frozen, and what little heat that I had left, I used for this. And I am not displeased. It is a tiny, unobtrusive little leaf. And there's no need to dwell on it, as there will be many more. 10 leaves after this, I'll post another video, and I will compare how it turned out. Because why not? Bye. And thank you for watching.